Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to the third video in the 10 series of the Jacques Herbin Premium Fountain Pen Ink Collection. These are their standard full line. And in the United States, they're exclusively available from Goulet Pen Company. And they did send me the samples free to use with no talk about reviewing, but of course that's what I do, so I love doing it. So today we're going to do the black one, and it's called Noir Abyssal. At least that's as close as I can come to pronouncing it. So let's dive right in. This is probably, I believe this is the first actual black ink I've reviewed, which is kind of strange, right? And it'll probably become apparent why as we go along in the review, but we're filling in, and of course I've started with all these neutrals, so that's really interesting. The next one will be a bright, so we'll talk about that too, but here we are. Oh, I need a paper. Let's see. I like to cover the ink before because it distracts us, I think. So here we are in the Bond Travel Gear 68 GSM Tomoe River paper. So it's the thicker of the Tomoe River papers. So that'll be our first sample. And like I said, this ink in the United States is available exclusively at Goulet Pens. They have a 2 ml sample for $2.25 and a 50 ml bottle for $28. But you can also get the all 10 in a little sample set too. I'll link you to something, probably the sample of this ink, because that's what I usually do. Just look in here and see. Okay, so it took 35 seconds to dry in my broad nib. That's a Yowo nib. And then in the Goulet 1.5 stub, it seems to lighten up just a little in there, but it's hard to translate that with camera lighting and etc. And it took 35 seconds in that too, which is usually it's a little bit quicker, but that was what it was that time. But it was a very pleasant writing experience. So in the fine nib, everything from here down is in the fine nib. It looks like I smeared it down here, but it was 30 seconds to dry in that nib too. And then I had a first impression. I like it, and I wanted you to know my experience with black inks is a little bit limited, because once I found Noodler's Heart of Darkness, I quit looking, and I'm working on a humongous bottle, a 4.5 ounce bottle of that. So that's something to keep in mind, but we'll learn together if we can. And then I have also tried Diatramentus document ink, but I'm all out. I didn't even have enough to do a tile for the comparison panel of that. But I liked that ink, and that was more permanent than today's ink, and it was more permanent than Heart of Darkness. So that's too bad. I scoured the house thinking maybe there'd be a drop or two over near my art table in one of those vials, but there wasn't. This was the Chromatography. I think it's very interesting. It leaves quite a bit of a line there where I wrote a broad line, and then, you know, just dipped it for the 15 seconds and then hung it vertically to dry. And we end up getting kind of a purple, which is hard to, you know, it moves some, and then it turns sort of a dark blue or purple to me. It almost looks blurple there. So there you have it. Okay, let's look, because this I think is going to be super important to look at the water test. And also I want to show you a comparison of the chromatography on my favorite ink that's black, which is Heart of Darkness by Noodler's. Okay, this is the water test. And I'll repeat this for anybody who hasn't been here. It's a 20 minutes submerged in a water bath, and this is Rhodia 90-gram paper. So this is what it ended up looking like. And you could still read it. And that was the same with the, well, not the same. You could see it's quite a bit darker left than it was in their gray ink, which is the one a few pages back. Shoot. What do we do? No, this is the brown. Yeah, okay. Mercy, I want to mix these up for some, because they stay so semi-permanent. Not semi-permanent, but they stay on the paper readable, which I think is amazing. So that was the brown. And then the gray did the same thing to a different degree. So I don't want to confuse you. I've confused myself. Okay, but I thought that was really interesting. And you know, in some ways really good. It does not claim to be water resistant. On the website and everything, it says it's not. But we see that there is some ability to withstand the water, for sure. Okay, let's compare Noodler's Heart of Darkness chromatography with today's. So today's is on the left, and on the right is Noodler's Heart of Darkness. It didn't quite move as much. These were done exactly the same way. And we also see a darker, kind of a darker component there. Whoops, let me get my thumb out of the way. They're similar, but they're not the same. So I just thought that would be really nice to look at them side by side before we keep going. Okay, and it's so little I'm having to dangle it off this little hanging thing because I don't want to lose it. I'll have to find that'll be saved because I'll probably be reviewing that ink too. Okay, so let's move over to our other samples. I have quite a few because black ink is something that we all need some of, I think, most of us. All right, I did get on to the 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I wanted to see what it would do when I put it down thick, and I did find out that it has a black sheen, which is terribly hard to show. Let's see. It's probably going to show by accident better than when I try to show you. That's hilarious. But anyway, this is kind of what it looked like. I didn't do a full workup on this paper because we'd done that on the other. And I'm sure, let's see, well, let's check. Yeah, it just seeped through where it was painted on heavy. Okay, and we'll look at the backs of the other paper. I did make some, by the time I did this, it was the end, and I said I thought the ink was safe, well behaved, and I kind of did like that black sheen, although that's going to be more subtle to pick up in your writing. You're going to see that depending on how much ink your nibs put down. And then I put on the other side, on the minus side, maybe not as dark as I like, and it's more costly than the Noodlers, but okay, we'll get to that later though. Okay, Rhodia 80 GSM dot grid paper. Performed very well on here. Here it is in the broad nib at the top. Okay, the camera's brightening things some, which is very irritating to me. It's making it look like, you know, wow, right? But it is brightening, or I'd call it brightening. It's darkening the ink a little, skewing it, and it bothers me. That's why we always have to get samples though. 30 seconds to dry in the broad nib. And then in the Goulet 1.5 stub, it was dry really fast, 20 seconds. I was surprised. What did it do over here? 35 seconds, so no telling. But that's what it did. In the fine nib, we have a little bit of the brown that just kind of stowawayed over here. Okay, 25 seconds to dry. I noted that it had very, very nice flow in all three of the pens. It was a very pleasant experience on this paper too. But I continue to believe that Heart of Darkness is a darker black. I still believe that, and that's from writing with that so much though. So, okay. Now I've got two samples for you on the cheaper paper. This is CVS caliber paper, which is kind of an intermediate cost, right around $3 for a 5x7 notebook like this. And here it is. It doesn't really, let's lay it down there and see. It lightens just a little. I mean to do this all the time so you could have kind of a view across. It lightens just a little on here, but not much. In the broad nib, it was taking 30 seconds to dry. And in the stub, 1.5 Goulet stub, 20 seconds to dry. Amazing. It was faster to dry in that than it was in the Lamy fine nib. Hilarious. Okay, where these lines are on the side, that's where I began with the fine nib. The Lamy fine nib it was almost dry at 20 seconds. I don't know if you could see that little tiny minuscule smear. So I went to 25 and it was dry. Now, I didn't like this ink paper matchup as well as I did the other two. It felt dry on in this nib and this one, and it was fine with the broad nib. But I did feel like, oh, this doesn't feel like the brown or the gray ink felt. But, you know, that's just my experience. So, okay. Oh, one more, and then we'll start turning them all over. Okay, I decided to do it on copy paper because black is a color you would use at work, and people have asked about this quite a bit. This is 20-pound, very cheap copy paper, Georgia Pacific. So I put it in the broad nib, and I'm going to hold that up as far as I can to get it. I can see feathering with my eye. Not drastic, not horrible, but, you know, if I was writing with a broad nib, I wouldn't like it on this paper. 15 seconds to dry, though. And then the stub nib, kind of the same level of feathering, quite a bit. Really, I didn't really like it, but it wasn't horrible. It doesn't look like a chicken or anything, feathers, or 15 seconds to dry in that broad nib. That's amazing. Okay, but that's not the most amazing thing I found out. A fine nib, there probably is some spreading. I mean, you can kind of see that there's a difference in thickness in the line, but it's not horrible. So I would say extra fine, or if you were writing with Japanese fine, I'm sure you'd probably be okay. 10 seconds to dry. Oh, I blew the secret, didn't I? No bleed through. So let's look on the back. I'd written something there randomly. Earth of Shadow. Oh, yesterday probably. So let's see. I need something to back that up with so that you can... Okay. So there's shadowing, but there's no bleed through. So that's when I start saying well-behaved ink, because I know Noodler's Heart of Darkness would not leave the same result. And I just, now it makes me want to review that ink. I probably will, but I'm going to finish this series first. I really like to try to stay on task. So I just think this would be a good option for you. If you're in really fine nibs and you can't control your paper and you have to use that ugly paper, you know, you'd be okay with that, I think. Oh, here's another ink splatter, too. That's just an ink splatter I did with it. It's quite nice. You know, it's a very nice black, and the behavior of it makes it, you know, kind of worth it for many people, I'm sure. Let's look at the back of this. This is the CVS. We had just a tiny bit of seepage where it was colored in real thick with a broad nib, and then what I'd call normal ghosting on this paper. It's quite thin. It's quite a bit like Tomoe River paper in that regard. Okay, then on Rhodia, let's get on the other side. Got a fly. My husband's been in and out so much with his closet project. Okay, you know, just normal, I'd say. There's some ghosting, but it's not going to bother me. I'd write on the back of there. Okay, oh good, we're going to have a clean page to go back to here. And Tomoe River paper always has some ghosting or shadowing, whatever you want to call it. Not going to bother me, though, to use the back of this paper for the next review. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay, so let's see if we can get into... I have this card here. I wonder why. Okay. Well, it had something to do with... I'm really not trusting Google right now for the... translations, but I trust this, that Noir means black and Abyssal either means large or deep sea trench or large deep sea trench. I'm not sure. So anybody who does know what this really translates to, I will appreciate knowing. And then we'll talk about that other business in a minute. Okay, let's do some color comparisons. My goodness. This desk looks like a mad scientist lives here. I think she does. Okay, let's see. Hopefully we can get everything to fit in. Okay, so this is going to be probably real glaring because this is all black, but it's so interesting to me when we get them all together that we can actually see differences, and they're subtle. And in this case, the part where I put splotches on with a paintbrush and then come back and put water is going to help us. It's going to help us see which ones have a little bit of water resistance, and also we start to see color coming out. You know, like up here I see some red, and here I see blue to my eye. Down here I even see some kind of green maybe, or blue coming out. That's way down in the right hand corner, Caran Dash Cosmic Black. But I did put side by side two that I thought were very similar. Pelikan Edelstein Onks and today's ink, Jacques Herbin Noir Abyssal. You know, they've both got a little water resistance, and the shade looks similar. It really does. And in fact, you could, well, you couldn't totally say that about Pilot Orochizuku Takesumi. Please don't sue me for saying it wrong. That actually has so much red sheen. I'm not sure if I could show you. But so I felt like that put it in a different row, so to speak. Okay. But here's my favorite. Probably because I landed on that early in the hobby and it suited all my needs for black ink and it's still going. I use a ton of it, but I still haven't used that huge bottle up. Noodler's Heart of Darkness. It has more resistance to the water, but it's not completely resistant. Artists are not going to be totally happy with that for, like, say you want to sketch and then come in with watercolor, no go. That's why I'm so frustrated that I don't have my sample, any sample left of Diatramentis Document Black, which I like. I really liked it. I used it, I tried it. I came close to buying a bottle, but I didn't feel I'd use it enough because in my own stuff, I actually use, I'm still using Pitt Artist pens for beginning sketch, and then if I watercolor over that, it works. So I didn't want to spend more money because I've got that bottle going. So let me see, hard to focus here because I get really excited about these inks. The Sitz Krusnock Granite Black is one that I haven't really tried, but it's got such an interesting inner part. It almost looks purpley, but it is very black, and coming out of a nib, I'm sure you're not going to really see that inner part at all. But it doesn't have much water resistance. It looks like Pilot Iroshizuku, that ink, the Takesumi, it looks like it does have some. And interestingly, even the Monteverde Onks looks like it has a little resistance too. So, I don't know. I've lost my thought. Okay, here's another really nice one. Platinum Mixable Smoke Black. I like that. But I haven't written, I have to be honest, I haven't written with any of these except for Noodler's Heart of Darkness enough to give like an opinion or a educated opinion. So it's these two that I've now written with, and this one I've written with a lot. I know that I've had some bleed through issues on certain papers with Noodler's Heart of Darkness, so you're going to want to sample and you're going to want to know what am I going to be using this on. Because I really don't believe that it would get the same report as our Ink of the Day did, you know, where it didn't bleed through in the broad and in a stub. I mean, yeah, just experience tells me Noodler's Heart of Darkness would. So let's see, I've got a few more. Here is Lamy Crystal Obsidian. Now that's got a lot of red sheen, even more than the Pilot ink. It's got some interesting chromatography coming through too. Quite a bit of teal coming through. That's interesting, isn't it? There was something else I was going to say about that. Darn, I like had a brain freeze. Huh. Anyway, hopefully that'll show you that's kind of a long ways away. Even when you add, because when you add in that red sheen, it does change the look of the ink. Okay, Noodler's Polar Black almost looks gray on here, so that makes me real curious how that would do, but that is super resistant to the water, even more so than Heart of Darkness. But it's not, to me that doesn't look like a black, but maybe I'm just, you know, judging it too soon. Only seeing it on watercolor paper is not enough. It's just a preliminary examination, I guess. Okay, I've got a couple grays because that kind of comes into play. Birmingham Tarnished Nickel, which I've done a full review of, is another one where it's not black. It's a very complex ink that almost can't be categorized, but I thought we might just sort of put it here and see how it compares with our panel. It's got a lot of complexity. That was a fun ink to review. That's probably as close as I've gotten so far to a black ink. Okay, then, why did I get out Earl Grey? We're not doing gray, but I did. I like it. It's complex. It's dark, but it's still very gray compared to all of these. Okay, and then J.R. Bond Stormy Gray, which kind of comes out really dark in a nib. That much I know. So, but it's not going to be as dark as this one, as today's, the Noir Abyssal. Okay, that's just about the best I could do in this category. I kind of stopped looking for blacks, inks once I got the Noodler's Heart of Darkness. So I think it's time to say what I thought of the ink, which it's a complex kind of a thing. Here we go. I said I like it, but I still like Heart of Darkness better. Noodler's Heart of Darkness better for me. I like the crispness, and I'm willing to go looking for paper that it'll do well on, because I like a dark black when I'm using black. But saturation of this ink was good, very good, way up there. The flow was excellent, but I knocked it down just a little from the other ones in this series so far, which were up there around 9 and 8.5. I gave it a 7. I really felt that was true. That was my experience. I still kind of question it. Shading, I didn't see any shading. Bleeding, no. I was confident to put no because it didn't bleed through the copy paper. So feathering only on the copy paper. Dry time was average, I thought. It had some black sheen, which my eyes aren't good enough to detect it on the paper. It may be there, but it's definitely there when you do splotches or drops or paint or anything like that. And I liked it. It looked really pretty. I didn't see halo or shimmer other than just what I showed you on the... oh, here it is. I was kind of... No, that's not where it was. It was in the little notebook. You could almost... Yeah, you could call some of that that's going on might be called a halo. But, you know, who's going to do that? Only people that like to do that kind of thing like me, and other people who like to do art journaling. So, okay. I gave it pretty high marks, though. I gave it an 8 for being safe. I believe it's safe. Even before I try cleaning it out, I just trust this ink brand. I've seen that with all the others, and I don't think there'll be any trouble. I'll update you if there is. And it's well behaved because it doesn't feather badly, and it doesn't bleed through the copy paper in the 3 nibs I use. So to me, but it is expensive, so you know it doesn't get high marks, the highest possible. But anyway, that's all opinion. You guys know that. Okay, let's see what we can create with by trying the Nick Stewart technique. And I've got the ink of the day, and I've got an orange ink too. I thought we'd try doing something interesting, just the same thing, but see what happens. Okay. Oh, I think the mail came, and I think my ink flake was in it because I heard that beep. That means you got a package. Oh, I'm excited. Why? When I'm like drowning in ink? I don't know, but I am anyway. Okay. I seem to be missing a paintbrush. There it is. Okay, and 2 more. Gracious. Pens, ink samples. I actually got Fire on Fire to go with it, but we'll start with the ink of the day. Noir Abyssal. Let's see what we can get. Oops, I got a cat here. That's what I got. Oh, somebody's been around here. Willie is sleeping in the living room, or he was. He may have gone out now because Manuel's been in and out, so. Okay, see what happens. Got movement, lots of movement. Oh, look at that. Cool. All right, I think I would like to get the pen out and get a line established here. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Oh, okay. So that's actually okay. It's nice when it's thicker in some parts. Give it a little bit of variety here and there. Huh. Okay, there's a good start. Let's see. Do I have another brush? Oh my goodness. Apparently my brushes are everywhere because I'm missing one. Okay, let's try a little Fire on Fire to see if we get anything up top there. What we can create or end up with, who knows. Woohoo! Okay, now we got water going both ways. Well, that ought to be interesting. For some reason, too, I was thinking about pumpkins, but you know what happens whenever I try to do something on purpose? This is not a purposeful art. This is serendipity, so. Oh, that would be really fun if I had this one. Okay, but let's see. I think first I want to do two things. I want to put a line down here of water. Oh, I like how that blended up there. That's neat. And then I want to see what we can get down here. Not quite as much as I thought. Well, that fixed it. Okay. Oh! Okay. What do I want to do? Little tiny brush. Little brush. And then just add a little color here and there. Whoops. Yeah, gotta be careful not to contaminate that. I've already reviewed it, but I'm still going to be using it. So. Okay, I think it's time to get the Lamy Fine nib going here. Some way or another. Oops. Now that would have been nice if I just made the stem for the pumpkin. The giant pumpkin. And we have a weird tree. Okay. I knew I was going to be weird with this one. Oh, but I love seeing those two colors together. That's neat. It's funny too because Abyssal. I've heard of Abyss and I've heard of Abysmal, but I hadn't heard of Abyssal. So, weird. I probably have the translation all wrong because I just rely on Google and I don't know what they're doing. Let's see. Huh. Well, I could do this forever, and I probably will try this again because I love to see those two colors together. That is so neat. Regardless of what's coming out, they really do go together well, and it's good for this season. Okay, so let's move this aside carefully, and then I'll show you what's next. What's next is Rouge D Orient. It's a red. Let's see. Well, and it's a deep red, but it's coming through kind of bright, so lighting is going to be critical there on that one. Let's see. Sometimes I can hold it just right, but this will be next. I'm going to take a sort of a rainbow approach and see how it goes. So what did you think of today's? Do you have a favorite black ink already? Do you like to have one that's totally bulletproof, or, well, and Noodler's Heart of Darkness, there's a question about that because it certainly is quite resistant to water, but it's not like Diatramenous Document Black either. But do you already have a preferred black, and what do you think of this one? I like it, and I think it's a very good black. I just think that it wouldn't make me run out and purchase it because I'm still finishing my other bottle, which ended up translating to like 14 cents a mil. So that Noodler's Heart of Darkness is a super good deal, 4.5 ounce. And I'm not trying to knock this one. What I think is, I think that these two are in league with each other, like really high quality inks, probably more well behaved than the Noodlers. I think I can say that very confidently, that we have to be a little bit careful. We could get bleed through. We could, you know, Noodler's inks, you have to be a little bit careful with them, but they're good, I think. And I haven't had any trouble yet, but I'm on top of my pens pretty close. I'm writing with them every day, and I'm cleaning them very regularly because I just don't want to ruin even a $2 pen. So, but I think these two are what you would call premium inks, you know. And, well, the Pilot is too, and I haven't much experience with it. If you like red sheen, there you go. So, oh my gosh, oh, 30 minutes. Oh, I've never done that. Okay, I gotta go because there's no reason for you to want to hear me for this long. So drop a comment if you'd like, and thank you very much. If you made it to the end, you get a star. Bye for now.